Jim, what about you? What are you seeing? Why is it important for firms to be investing in that talent? And how does that affect the firms that you're looking to do business with?
Yeah, once we've determined that a firm is a cultural fit, because there's no, like, bringing on a bad cultural fit is just like, it's the worst. We've done 97 transactions. I think we may have done more than that. And there's one or two I can think of where it's like, maybe that wasn't the perfect fit. And we can be honest about that. But once we figure out that they're a good fit, the next question we ask is, what are your net flows, right? What are your assets coming in versus going out? Because that determines a lot of the value. And the second is, tell me about your G2. Or who's going to take over your book of business? Most sellers are late 50s to kind of early 60s. They have 3 to 5 years of everyone thinks they're going to work longer, but things happen. Sometimes getting a big check changes your perspective on sort of the length of time you want to work. And sometimes, right, sometimes people work longer than they expect, but that G2 is really your source of growth because we're very good at lead gen. We find lots of opportunities for our advisors. A lot of times those advisors that have recently joined us as G1 advisors, they're not that interested in taking our leads, right? But they're excited for the G2 to take the leads because the G2s aren't rainmakers, they're great servicing advisors. So from a valuation perspective, we often think about what is the capacity of this firm to grow, and the G2 are really at the base of thinking about that capacity. One thing that we've done, because it's so important, and we really see the industry sort of shifting over the next couple of years from being M&A sort of crazed. I would say there's been a little bit of a craze around M&A to being recruiting crazed. Okay, and we saw that in the insurance brokerage space. The insurance brokerage space is about 10 years ahead of us in consolidation. That was built primarily through M&A. And then what happened was when multiples sort of drifted up to where there really wasn't a great arbitrage anymore between the large firms and the smaller firms, then they shifted to recruiting. And you saw the same thing happen to wirehouses, et cetera. And so we've been really focused on recruiting G2 advisors. And last year we brought in 16 G2 advisors, which is fine. This year, with our sort of recruiting effort that really got going in the second half of last year, we've already brought in 32 advisors, and I think we're going to end the year on 70. And that's on a base of about 600 advisors. So 10% of our advisors this year, we'll have added more than 10% of our advisors, and those will be G2 advisors with long runways, strong planning backgrounds, and the ability to both take leads that we can provide them, as well as be successors to some of our advisors that are approaching retirement. And I'm very proud of that. And I think that as I look at the valuation of our business, having that ability to find those G2 to backfill our advisors and make sure that we keep our advisor community sort of, I'll say spry, is really important. And that's going to be something that someone who invests in our business is really going to look to.